What's up? Well, I'm about in the last mile or so at the end of today's long run. I don't know if you can see him or not, but I got my little buddy with me as usual. But I guess what I wanted to talk to you about today was something I get asked quite a bit over the last few years, and it seemed to be more often now in the last few months than any time else. But you know, I've said parts of this story many times, you know, during my journey, but it was all in text, so I'm not going to sit here and rewrite it or dig it up or anything like that, but I'll just give you the high points of it. So way back when, my life was not great, and I was the kind of choices I was making was also not great, but I ended up crossing paths with which turned out to be one of the most fantastic human beings I ever crossed paths with. And there was one day I saw him, he had a tattoo on his leg, and I asked him about it, and he told me what it was, and I thought it was just the coolest thing ever, right? Fast forward a couple months, I asked him about it again. You know, I asked him how he got it, and he told me, and I gave him the sup, the typical non-runner response of holy crap, that's amazing. You know, and fast forward some more time, and I was like, you know what, I want a tattoo like that, but I didn't know like how to get started. You know, at this time I was still not making great diet choices. I was still drinking a lot. I was still using a lot. I'm not going to tell you what I was using, but know that it wasn't great. And so I went to ask him again, like, hey man, like how'd you get started? Like what happened, you know? And he was like, well, and I'm gonna quote him on this. He said, and I quote, dude, if you want to get started, start training 5Ks. End quote. What? Man, I probably stewed on that for like a good month and a half, until one day I was sitting at the house, and I was working at the house at this point, or from the house I should say, and it was about lunchtime, and it was summer, and it was hot. When I'm sitting outside and I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, I want to try to walk around the block. It's a beautiful day outside. When I tried to walk around that block, man, bad business. I didn't even make it halfway around before I was gassed, buddy. Gassed. I'm talking about double vision, hacking and coughing, you know, the whole 9 yards. And I thought to myself that day, I'm in my early 30s. There is no reason why I can't at least walk around the damn block without any problems. And then I remembered what's his name said. And I was like, well, I guess today is there's no better day than today to get started. So I laced my, at the time, an old pair of Jordans up, and I went to go take a walk for a couple miles. That was the hardest, at the time, that was the hardest thing I ever did. It was hot. I knew I felt out of shape, you know. I felt the effect of many years of smoking and using. Like, I felt that cumulative damage, you know. And I knew it was going to be a long road, but I wanted that tattoo, right? So I did what I had to do, which was next day, laced them up, got after it. Day after that, laced them up again, got after it. Put the cigarettes down, stopped eating fast food. Kept getting after it, kept getting after it, kept getting after it. A few months later, I think it was towards the end of summertime, I found myself searching and signing up for a 5K. And the only one that I could find at the time was in New Orleans, around, I think it was called the Audubon Park or something. And it was hosted by the NOTC. So, you know, I've never done this kind of thing before. So I just remember waking up super early, driving all the way down from Bogalusa, trying to find some parking. Found the place, and I forget the lady name, but when I went to go pick up my bib, she was like, "Hey, are you an NOTC member?" I was like, "Nah, I ain't never done this before." She was like, "Well, you're gonna be an NOTC member today." And she hooked me up with the registration bib, man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, not everybody's a dick. But got to that starting line. I ran that 5K, and it was the hardest and slowest 5K I ever ran. But I made it, and then that point on, I was hooked, man, because I was surrounded by some fantastic human beings, and it was such an awesome atmosphere. And you already know New Orleans, you know, that's where it's at, as long as you ain't being stupid, you know. But I just wanted to, you know, share my first little couple experiences. You know, I'm glossing over a whole lot because here it is in the long run. And you know, brain don't do think good. But anyway, I really appreciate everybody saying what's up, pressing play, and spending some time with your boy. I don't know about you. Whew, this hurts. This hurts a lot. But anyway, always try to keep that fire lit, you know, because there's always going to be someone that's going to try to put it out, especially when you're new and starting out. You know, you're going to have a lot of naysayers, like, for example, oh, running is bad for your knees, or, you know, I knew somebody that used to run until they got injured and now they're all messed up. Well, like a wise woman once said, everything you do is a risk, man. Even getting out of bed and facing this crazy world that we live in is a risk. But if you're going to take risks and take chances, at least try to do something that's constructive, you know what I mean? And let all them naysayers naysay by themselves, you know what I'm talking about? But anyway, it's another end of a long run, and I'll see you next week. Deuces.